Hello everyone and welcome back to another video here on my YouTube channel. And can you believe it, this one marks my 5th year anniversary. 5 years ago, decided to upload a video to YouTube. 25th of September 2011, I decided to make a tutorial on a pumpkin and melon farm. You can see it here behind me. And I never would have known how far this could have gone. Now this video isn't about the melon and pumpkin farm, it's actually a tutorial, as the title would have told you. That's right, I'm going to give you all the pointers that I can on how to make high quality tutorials. So if ever you've got a contraption you want to share, then hopefully you'll be able to make a decent tutorial with my help. Now, I'm going to start off by waffling on about 5 years for a few minutes, and then we will jump into the tutorial. So I do just want to say, when I started out on YouTube, I had no idea where this could lead. I just made something cool, this farm right here, and I wanted to share it with the Minecraft community, which by making videos I really wanted to become an active part of. And at the time, just the idea of making videos seemed really fascinating, and you know, it becoming a job or going this far, 500,000 subscribers, never dreamed of any of that stuff. All I wanted to do was make a video, upload it to YouTube, and the rest is history, as they say. Now, a lot of stuff has happened over the last 5 years. You probably might be interested in what the channel used to look like or what kind of videos I did in the beginning. In the description box down below, you can find a playlist to other anniversary and sort of recap videos that I've done over time, where I've gone through things that have happened in the year or in the past and sort of summarized them in a short video. So if you're feeling a little bit nostalgic like I am today, then you can check out that playlist and have a little recap at the history of this channel. But before we jump into the tutorial, I do want to throw a few numbers at you. So over these 5 years, I've uploaded over 2,000 videos. We have accumulated over 500,000 subscribers, and we are approaching 120 million views on the channel. That is an average of 1 and a bit videos per day, 285 subscribers every day, and 65,500 views. There's also been 4.5 million likes on the channel, as well as just under 50,000 dislikes and 793,000 comments on these videos. Now, all of these numbers don't add up to the experience. That is something that cannot be measured. However, there is one statistic that comes close, and that is watch time. The time that people have spent watching my videos adds up to 1,558.8 years, and that is a mind-boggling thing to get your head round, and it is a very humbling statistic. And before we get started, I do just want to say that my tutorials are not perfect. I have probably made some of the same mistakes that I'm going to point out in this video. One of the biggest ones of all is make sure you learn to say tutorial properly. I can't do it. I've tried very hard, and that is one of the most amusing things about this channel, I think, that it's built a reputation for tutorials, a word I can't even say properly. Starting off with tip number 1, don't put the microphone directly in front of your mouth. Is a bad idea. You'll end up sounding like I do right now, and let's face it, no one is going to stick around and watch an entire video where you sound like this. Number 2 is don't record at night. I can't tell you how many bad videos I've seen where they're recording in night and everything is dim, it's hard to see what's going on. Compression makes it even worse on YouTube. It is just a very simple tip. You know, record in the daytime, record when it's nice and bright and easy to see things. This one is obvious, but it does need to be stated. Make sure your video quality is decent, because no one's going to stick around and watch this garbage for an entire video. Luckily for you, the internet is a wonderful place full of all sorts of information, and most PCs should be able to do much better than this. Take the time to do the research, learn how to configure your recording software, and make sure the visual quality is decent. And this one touches on the same subject. If you're going to use some basic software like Bandicam or stuff that I've never really used myself, I've seen videos where the desktop is being captured and the Minecraft game is in the window. This is pretty much unacceptable. A large portion of your screen becomes wasted space, and really you just want to get the game itself on the screen. In my opinion, this next tip should be a rule. Don't ever record a tutorial in a texture pack. If you want to build something or follow along and there is a texture pack you're unfamiliar with, it can be quite confusing. Luckily, a lot of this is quite intuitive, and some texture packs are actually very intuitive. However, with a whole bunch of different looking blocks, it can be quite confusing. For example, what is this one right here? Well, we happen to know. If you've been watching the video, we already know it's smooth sandstone. But yes, my point is, just use the vanilla game and then everyone can understand it. I would also recommend leaving the field of view alone, set it at default. Right now we're on Quake Pro, and personally I hate watching videos like this. It drives me mad, it gives me a headache. Not everyone feels the same way, of course, but you know, most people are going to be okay with the regular field of view. So Quake Pro I would recommend not using. In general, it's about being considerate of the viewer, and moving your mouse around like this, getting all excited while you're pointing at stuff, can actually be quite disorientating and dizzy for the viewer. So turn your mouse sensitivity down and try to make no sudden movements. So my last not what to do tip is something that I did in this video. When you start a tutorial, don't waffle on about something else. The amount of times I've clicked on a tutorial and they start off with a speech about how they haven't uploaded videos in a while, they've been busy with this and that. Look, when someone clicks on a tutorial, they're there for the tutorial, so always get straight to the point and don't waffle on. So now you know the things that you shouldn't do. Most of the time what you need to do is the opposite, and I cannot stress it enough. Take the time to get comfortable with doing this. Don't rush into it, don't get too excited. Make sure your video quality is good, your audio quality is good, and you know, get comfortable with talking to a microphone. You don't have to rush into things. You can take your time and of course use editing, which brings me to our next point, which is being prepared when you're making a tutorial goes a long way. You want to structure your video, and remember you can use editing. You don't have to record it all in one go. If you make a mistake, you can cut it out and try again, so to speak. So behind me, what I have is how I would structure a tutorial video, and of course we start off with the introduction. Have an intro, explain what the viewer is going to get out of the video. Of course they've just clicked on it. Now what you need to do is tell them exactly why they've done that if it wasn't obvious enough. The second part is to reason its purpose and use. If you're making a Minecraft contraption like a melon and pumpkin farm, that's pretty obvious, but not all of them are so obvious, especially for new players. So it's a good idea to reason its use and explain exactly what it's for. This next one might sound odd, but point out the cons. We're not here to trick anyone. You know, every farm has its flaws, and if there's some that you're aware of, let the viewer know, because not all farms are built for the same purpose of efficiency. Some can be for aesthetic, size, and shape. So always point out the different cons as well as the pros as well. Now this next one is resources and space needed. On my very first tutorial, I decided I would tell you exactly what you needed to build it and how much space you would need as well, and that was very well received and has been a staple mark of my tutorials ever since. The next bit is the tutorial itself. Pretty obvious, you've got to show people how to place the blocks and what they're doing, and then after that I've included this one here, which is additional info. Now this is sort of like what you could explain in the beginning, but sometimes it makes more sense to explain some stuff after they've actually built it. So we've got the additional info section right here, and then very last of all, provide people with a world download, because it can make a world of difference, pun intended, if you can jump into that world and actually see what you're building firsthand. So the next part of the tutorial is presentation, and we're not talking about the video itself anymore, we're actually talking about the thumbnail that you're going to see on YouTube. So what I'm going to do is show you 3 different thumbnails and we're going to discuss them one by one. So this one is what I would call a bad thumbnail, and remember this is all about taste and opinion, but what we have right here is a lot of wasted space in the background where there's not too much going on, and the farm itself is a very small part of the thumbnail. The fonts aren't particularly interesting, they've got no line around them or shadow to make them pop out, and also if we look at the colours of them, down in the bottom right, the green with the white background can be tricky to read. We've also got some slanted fonts as well, which I see a lot on thumbnails and I'm not particularly keen on. This second thumbnail is light years better. We've got a zoomed in view of the farm. We can make out the melon and the pumpkin and the pistons. We've got the logo, and then the font at the bottom isn't the greatest, but it is quite bright and easy to read when you're this zoomed in. And the third thumbnail is very much my current style of making thumbnails. I want to make what the farm is about very clear and visible, so we have the melon and pumpkin textures taking up the entire background, no need to show a contraption, and then the font is very big and very bold, easy to read and a very clickable thumbnail. Of course this is all opinion, but personally this is the style of thumbnail I really like. It's also a good idea to remember that there will be a timestamp in the bottom right hand corner, so it's a good idea not to put any text down in that area. You should also mess around with the saturation. Minecraft is pretty good, but some games can look a little bit lacking of colour, and having nice colourful thumbnails is a good thing. Another one that you can do is mess around with the brightness and contrast as well. Minecraft is actually a little bit gloomy. I find that thumbnails always look a lot better if you turn up the brightness and turn down the contrast a little. The next thing we're going to do is resize these thumbnails. We're going to make them smaller, which is something you should always do when you're making a thumbnail, because this is how they'll actually appear on YouTube. They won't be big, taking up most of your screen. They'll be quite small and competing with other thumbnails as well. So there are two really big tips here, is to not load the thumbnail with lots of detail because it will all get resized, and also to have big and clear readable fonts so that you can see them when they've been made a lot smaller. And so, those are most of the pointers that I can think of at this point in time, and I think it was the first year anniversary that I was thinking about doing a tutorial, and some people were suggesting it. It's taken us 5 years to get around to doing this, but it's been well and truly worth it. I have loved making this video, and I've got to say, I still love doing this YouTube thing. It is amazing how long it has gone on for, and I hope that it keeps continuing because I'm very much enjoying myself, and I hope you're enjoying the videos too. Remember, there is a playlist in the description box for you if you'd like a little bit of nostalgia and history around this channel. But that's it from me this one, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.